A rematch of the 2022 final with implications aplenty on the points table. Defeat for Gujarat Titans tonight will see them lose top spot to Rajasthan Royals. If the Royals were to lose, they could find themselves as low as 6th come the end of Saturday, depending on other results. On Visit Saudi presents ESPNcricinfo T20 Timeout. It's a good evening to Shaun, Tait and Amol Muzumdar. A frantic points table sets us up for quite a fascinating Friday, potentially, Amol.
You know, somebody was saying that it's a moving week. I don't think the table has moved on an inch, isn't it?
No.
Only the bottom half moved a little bit here and there.
The other way of looking at it, of course, is that it moves every day, every game.
Yeah, exactly. It swaps positions, but it ends up in the same spot eventually at the end of the week. So, which makes for a good tournament, I suppose. There's a bit of a rivalry building up between these two now. You know, so which is a good thing. Yeah.
And clarity in general, be it on the points table, be it on the pitch, be it on the toss. So that was quite an amusing toss there, where home captain says, I'm not sure what this pitch is like. Away captain says, I thought I wanted to bat, but if the home captain is not sure, I'm happy bowling. So just not a lot of clarity in general.
It's always, in the IPL, I don't know about domestic cricket, but in the IPL, it's always been a licorice all sorts, this pitch. Back in 2010, I know when I was in this squad, it was one of those, sometimes you get the low, slow, which made for a bit of boring cricket, a bit of grinding cricket, and then sometimes you get a pitch that goes through with the ball and is quite nice to bat on. So, it is a bit that way in Jaipur.
Amid all that confusion around the pitch during the toss, Sanju Samson did confirm that Rajasthan Royals will bat first in this game in Jaipur against Gujarat Titans. We'll bring team news in just a bit. But so much has changed. The last time these two teams played, Rajasthan had that stunning chase in Ahmedabad on the back of Samson, Hetmeyer, Jurel, even Ashwin with the cameo. At that point, they had 4 wins in 5, sitting pretty. They've lost 3 out of 4 since. And it's already feeling like, 1 or 2 more losses, and this gets out of hand very soon. Yeah,
it's that kind of a tournament. IPL is a very, I always keep saying that it's a unforgiving tournament. I mean, if you have a little bit of a dip in form, it just reflects on reflects on the points table immediately. If you see, as you said, if they lose this game, then they go in on 6th position. So I think Rajasthan, it's a very crucial game for them. Even for Gujarat Titans, if they win, then they go 3. It's a clear 3-point difference between Lucknow and Chennai between them. So 3 points difference means that they are ahead by 2 games.
Yep.
So potentially this is a very interesting game right in front of us. Rajasthan would want to keep that home record intact.
Yeah, it could give Titans something that has been so rare at the top of the points table, breathing room, breathing space. And they come into this, Shaun, having won all 4 of their away games. And if you look at their remaining fixtures, in these last 5, they play 3 away. Such has been the season when no team has enjoyed home advantage. It almost fits perfectly into their template, given the oddities.
It does. It does. And they should have a lot of confidence in that as well. And the fact that they don't, like you said, like Hardik said, the home captain doesn't really know what the wicket's like. They can take confidence in that as well, because it's not really giving a home advantage to Rajasthan in a way. And they've got the squad. They've got a great, well-balanced squad. Gujarat, arguably the best side in the competition at the moment. I think they're the best side. So with the conditions a bit unknown, I like the fact they're not changing their team. That's also a sign of a team that's going pretty well.
Yeah, away games after this at the Savai Mansingh Stadium tonight. They have a visit to Wankhede next week, and then the Titans close out the league stage with a visit to Chinnaswamy Stadium. We'll take a look at the Gujarat Titans team. They do make it easier for us. No changes. Hardik Pandya did confirm at the toss. They are going in with the option with the mix that has worked for them. Shubman Gill being the one on the impact bench, because Gujarat, this is their bowling 11, full complement of 5 bowlers plus Hardik Pandya, and who knows if Rahul Tewatia gets a ball. Before we get to Rajasthan, let's focus a bit on Hardik Pandya, the batter. Those away games we mentioned, Jaipur, the last game saw 200 scored, and then you have Wankhede and Chinnaswamy, both high-scoring venues. And the one thing that has come into the focus, Amol, not just right now, Hardik Pandya, as Gujarat Titans captain, you saw a visible change in batting approach. This is someone who, of course, in the IPL was renowned for big hitting. Before Titans, a strike rate of well above 150 in his years with Mumbai Indians. There's been a different approach since. How do you view that shift in approach in general?
I personally feel that there's a bit of a question mark there whether they're using Hardik Pandya to his full potential. Where you said that his strike rate was 150 when he played for Mumbai Indians. Even last year he played a little differently. Now, if you can see, there is a visible change in the average and the strike rate. Strike rate is a dramatic drop from 131.27 to 117. So I think it also reflects on the combination what they are playing. Last year, Sai Sudarshan made a mark at number 3. They had a player of Sai Sudarshan's temperament at batting at number 3, so he could take the game a little deeper. That was his role. Also, Shubman Gill was in great form. So, in this tournament also he is in top form. But the role has changed. If you see the batting order over there, it's Vijay Shankar, it's Hardik Pandya, it's Abhinav Manohar, Rahul Tewatia, and David Miller in the squad. So you've got, probably all of them can strike big. They have all boundary hitters. They love hitting big shots. Nobody is there who can manipulate the ball. So I think Hardik Pandya's role becomes a little different.
Is that rest of the lineup and the fact that he has not just proven finishers but well-performing finishers? You think of a Vijay Shankar this season, David Miller, Rahul Tewatia. Does that in a way make it okay that Hardik has recalibrated his approach?
It does. Rashid Khan, you can maybe throw in there as well. The guy, this he hasn't done much for the bat, but he can do it right if he's needed. I'm not over the moon about him batting number 3, but like you're saying, in this lineup he can. He's obviously more than capable. I don't know if I yet see him as a number 3 batsman. I think 4, 5 maybe might be a better place for him, but it's going okay, the top of the table. And maybe he's going to mature into that role even more as we go into the future. So.
A very good example of what Shaun mentions was perhaps just their last game, where Hardik did bat through that chase against Delhi, finished 59 not out of 53. Credit to him, who was up front in taking the blame and saying that I'd batted long enough and finished it. But is this the risk attached, Amol, for a batter when they have a marked change of approach? When you're used to batting with certain levers and you recalibrate that, does it then become that much more challenging to switch the gears again in the death overs?
It does seem so. I think, with Hardik Pandya not able to chase that 131, it was posted when he batted right throughout the 20 overs, so almost 20 overs. So it just goes to show that, a little bit of a pressure and probably that role that he's playing, he wants to take the game deeper. That is not what comes naturally to him. What we have seen of Hardik Pandya in the last 5-6 years, where he has grown as an international player, we've seen him bat number 5, number 6, where he comes in and has that impact on the game, and he just takes the game away from the opposition with those big hits. And that is what is missing, I feel, in this season.
Could that potentially complicate things from an India setup, where he is more of the assigned finisher, as Amol mentions?
Just thinking that now, as Amol's discussing, what's it going to look like for India? If he gets used to this sort of role, he's probably not going to play that in the Indian side right now. Again, who knows in the future? But I guess I guess Gujarat can look to next season and think about can we get someone else in that spot and then shift him back down the order a little bit to maybe where he's a bit more suited. That's also an option going forward for next year. And certainly for India, it's a funny one. I don't, obviously right now, I don't think he's going to bat there. He's not going to bat there. But who knows in the future?
I just wanted to make one point on that. Sai Sudarshan played first 5 games. And if you see his numbers and Vijay Shankar's number in this year's IPL, they're similar. The strike rate is similar. Strike rate may be a little bit better for Vijay Shankar in the last game against KKR that he hit those shots. But run-wise, average-wise, he's had the same impact as Vijay Shankar. But they have just preferred Shankar over Sai Sudarshan after those first 5 games.
I think as well, it strikes me, the IPL, the star Indian players they're looking for so much responsibility. A lot of them want to be captain as well. I mean, Hardik Pandya definitely captain. I'm just saying in general, I'm talking about the responsibility he's taken on. So I'm the captain, I'm the face of the franchise, I've got to bat 3 because rah, rah, rah. KL Rahul, I've got to be captain, I've got to open the batting, I've got to play like this because it's my responsibility. Sometimes you can let things go a bit, bring the rest of the team in, use guys for different roles, and you don't have to take everything on because you are expected to, or you feel like you're expected to do everything as a star local Indian player.
Yep.
You don't have to. There's other players around to do things, and you can take the load off yourself. So it's an interesting one as well.
Yeah, you almost feel like captaincy does switch on this conservative button in a lot of young captains. One captain who generally doesn't toe that line is Sanju Samson. And let's take a look at how his Rajasthan Royals are lining up. They are batting first against Gujarat Titans in Jaipur. One notable change, Adam Zampa replaces Jason Holder, who's blown more cold than hot so far this season. That means Rajasthan will have that spin trio of Ashwin, Zampa and Chahal when they look to defend whatever they put on the board. But before we look at the bowling, what's interesting, Amol, is that you have Ashwin as high as number 7 and then a pretty lengthy tail for a team who have in these last 4 or 5 games seen their top stars see their runs dry up. Not a lot of runs for Butler or Sampson or Hetmeyer in these 3 losses in the last 4. So that almost feels like a bit of a shallow batting lineup.
I wouldn't say that that it is a shallow batting lineup. Just that he's not out of form, Joss Butler. It's just he started off the IPL brilliantly. It's just that the runs have dried up. He is in form, and I'm sure a couple of hits in the middle, I think he'll start getting that feel again. So Butler, Shimron Hetmeyer, and Sanju Samson are the pillars of this Rajasthan batting lineup. Of course, Yashasvi Jaiswal, you can't take away from the youngster. He has shouldered that responsibility and he's covered it up, nicely for the rest of them, all 3 of them, in fact. They would love these 3 to come back in form because this is the business end of the IPL, and I think if Rajasthan have to, go ahead in this season, those 3 become crucial.
And already when you look at those numbers and then you see Yashasvi Jaiswal and how he's contributed, of course, spoke enough about that almost an all-timer innings that he played at Wankhede. Is it almost a next step in his evolution that he's already showing the maturity to shoulder the responsibility when the big guns aren't firing?
Yeah, it's a great sign that he is. I think he's 21, isn't he? He's still so young, but the fact that he's shown that maturity, you could see after he walked off, after he got his 100 as well, he was extremely confident and assured of what he did as well. He was sort of like, this is almost like this is the one that's put me on the stage. I'm ready now. And the fact that the other big guns haven't scored and he's stepped into that role and scored. And if those guys start making runs now, as Amol said at the business end of the season, look out. It's a pretty formidable batting or top order. Anyway, and I think I saw something Jaiswal was saying in an interview about he doesn't mind playing a different way. He doesn't want to play the same way all the time, which is sort of international cricket talk a little bit. I mean, or certainly a mature way of talking. He doesn't want to just be a one-style player. He can hopefully play in different conditions against different bowlers. He's played spin well as well. So, and his game against fast bowling, certainly against a short ball, has improved.
And that's one of the standout features, Amol, if you look. He's yet to be dismissed by spin. So often we talk about young openers who might show a lot of intent in the power play, but then spin comes into the picture and it can complicate things. You see none of that with him.
It's an uncomplicated mind that he operates with. I feel Yashasvi Jaiswal, whatever time I've spent with him, Shaun is right. I mean, it doesn't matter to him which bowler he's facing or which format he is batting in. Whether it is first class cricket, whether it is T20 cricket or one-day cricket, it just comes naturally to him. Batting, basically he loves batting, and he just displays that. He loves staying at the crease. And when he got out, after getting that magnificent 100, he was still, gutted about that he got out.
Yeah, does love batting against spinners, those numbers show you. And there will be a lot of spin on showcase tonight, because you've got Rashid and Noor on one side with Gujarat, and Rajasthan, as we just mentioned, have brought in Zampa. So that's 3 spinners there. It is also, Shaun, the 2 most potent spin attacks. But the contrast lies in the fact that while Gujarat have also had a firing pace pack, you've had Mohammad Shami do the damage in the power play, Josh Little doing a job. Rajasthan have relied a lot on their spinners for their success. In that sense, playing the 3 spinners, regardless of conditions, is the right move?
I think it looks like they're obviously doing it again tonight. Zampa's definitely in. And if that's their strength, then go with your strength. Their strength at the moment is not their seam bowling. They've got Obed McCoy in the squad. I don't know what his status is as far as fitness goes. There's been no reports, I don't think, of him being injured, but he's also an option if they need to go to him. But I guess they've got confidence in these 3, and why wouldn't you? All international quality, world-class spinners, and doing a pretty good job.
You know, one thing what I realized of yesterday's game, that KKR gave the responsibility to bowl the 16th, 18th and 20th over to Varun Chakravarti. They just shifted few things within the bowling lineup and gave the responsibility to him. Similarly, Rajasthan can do it. They're finding it difficult to bowl the 18th and the 20th over. Jason Holder obviously wasn't the best choice, I feel, in those conditions. So might as well throw it to one of these spinners. Of course, Ashwin will finish. Probably the leg spinner might bowl the last over. I mean, they're world-class bowlers, all 3 of them. Might as well give them an added responsibility.
Yeah. And you saw that template in one of Rajasthan's more impressive wins, batting first, which came at Jaipur earlier in the tournament, where they defended 170, and you saw Chahal and Zampa bowl the 17th and 18th overs in that chase. But just on Ashwin, he's enjoying what is easily one of his best IPL seasons in a long time. And one of the things that'll always stand out, 13 wickets, out of which 9 are right-handers. That's one to throw in the matchup card.
He will love it, knowing him. But I'd said this before on Cricinfo that, Ashwin, Rajasthan Royals have given a new lease of life for Ashwin in T20 format. A couple of years back, probably if Rajasthan Royals hadn't gone for him, maybe we would have not seen him in the T20 format, but it has just revived him in the latter half of his career. And obviously he found himself playing the World Cup in Australia. So, he's enjoying himself, he's having a good time, and it's reflecting on the ground.
Yeah, not to mention the batting license, given the opener role one day, one down someday. But Ashwin's success, you'd say it's all the more vital for them, given that Chahal, by his lofty standards, has had a slight tapering off. In the 2 games in Jaipur in particular till now, he's yet to take a wicket, 6 overs for 63 runs. So just that complement becomes so much more the weight, in a sense, that Ashwin is carrying, while Chahal just has those few off games.
It can happen. Chahal had a great year last year. And then, it can swap around. That happens. It's pretty normal stuff. And the thing is, it's almost like we're talking about the batting with Jaiswal stepping up while the other guys are having a bit of a lean patch. Maybe it's the same with the bowling. Because you've got the 2 world-class Indian spinners, if one of them's, not taking the wickets that he might like, and the other one is, it's okay. You can sort of, I'm not going to say the word carry the other one, but you can get through that. If you've got, and then they've got 3 world-class spinners, all 3 of them are probably not going to perform to their absolute best every single time. So,
on the other end, in Gujarat, while Noor Ahmed has come and stolen the spotlight, Rashid Khan having right there among the wickets, 4th on the purple cap list, but such have been the standards Rashid Khan has set. We've got used to him going at 6 and over, whereas this time for once you see a season where he's going at 8.5, which is unthinkable territory almost by Rashid Khan's standards. Is it just a function, Amol, of bowling tough overs?
You can say it in a combination of that, but I get a feeling that both. It's uncanny that Yuzvendra Chahal and Rashid Khan, probably 2 great picks in the IPL as leg spinners. They've all gone for a tap this season. Both their economy is more than 8. Rashid Khan has picked up wickets, 15 wickets, but he's not been economical this season, especially against that game against KKR. game where Gurbaz, his own wicketkeeper, from Afghanistan, he took him for a little tap there. He moved away from the stumps and then hit him straight on the side screen. And not many times you've seen people do that, but he showed, probably that was a sign that he showed that Rashid Khan could be handled in this fashion.
Yeah, and you also saw Sanju Samson getting into him in the reverse fixture, hit 3 sixes in an over. Shaun, is it also a factor of just at times paying the price of being in a much more well-rounded bowling attack? Rashid Khan in the past has been part of lineups where it was very clear that opponents batted those 4 overs out and targeted the other 16.
Yeah.
Could it have something to do with just the fact that you don't have so many overs to target against this Gujarat lineup?
Yeah, he's normally the absolute standout gun in the attack. You're right. Maybe that does have a little bit to do with it. But that's a good point. When he got hit straight, I remember a game in Delhi a few years back now when he got tapped as well, and the guys were hitting him straight down the ground. I always thought that was a better option to Rashid Khan. But anyway, so sometimes players do get worked out, I suppose. In the past, he's been able to combat it. At the moment, okay, he's still taking wickets, but he's gone on a bit of a higher rate. But he's quality as good as it gets in the world. So expect him to come back, and maybe this wicket's going to assist him as well tonight. So
this wicket and also the combination of some sensational track records that Rashid has against a lot of the Rajasthan batters. The one that's been highlighted so many times is the contest between Rashid and Jos Buttler. I asked you, I think, before the reverse fixture, is there a real temptation to throw Rashid on early? I'm repeating the same question now, to a Jos Buttler who doesn't have the runs in recent games.
Absolutely. If you have a number on somebody, keep him there. And, without a doubt, just throw him first or second over. When Buttler is on strike, just have him on. With the new ball, it doesn't matter. Just have that matchup and see what happens. Buttler, as far as I know him, he wasn't comfortable facing Rashid Khan when Rashid was with Sunrisers, especially on that Hyderabad pitch, where there was a little tacky and used to turn a little bit. So, yeah, he's got his number. Keep it there.
Even if they don't bowl Rashid at the top, there is a Mohammad Shami who has 12 wickets out of his 17 in the power play, leading the wickets tally. For Rajasthan, given what we've seen of this batting lineup, which today has Ashwin at 7 and a long tail, is it worth considering a conservative approach at the start?
I don't know about that. I think if you start out the game with a conservative approach, you can find yourself in a hole if you lose wickets. At the same time, these guys are pretty smart, these opening batters. But I don't think they're the sort of players that are just going to go conservative, to be honest. I think now, in this day and age, the scores we've been seeing, Jaiswal's in great form. I don't think so.
Right, fair enough. And probably the last 2 batters we can expect to go about conservatively. So then fine, let me just put the toughest question of the day to you two. No one knows what to expect from this pitch, not the captains, not the commentators. So how about predictions? Let's go Amol first.
That's a tough one. As we saw at the toss, Sanju Samson had no idea of what the pitch would be. I would still go. First game, they conceded 154 runs on that pitch, and then they went on to score in the second post 200. So I'll go in between, 175.
Yeah, I was thinking more once. Yeah. I'll go a little bit. I'll go 185.
185.
Yeah.
You were almost spot on yesterday.
Well,
said 168. We got 171. So
I'm normally about 50 runs out, but that's.
Last time he made prediction, it was 70 runs off.
Honestly.
Hopefully closer. But where's the fun?
175 to me.
What about yourself?
I will go 152. Doesn't matter what I say. Anyway. But, thank you, gentlemen, for the company, for the faith in asking me that question. Lots of interviews for you to look out for. Yashashvi Jaiswal spoke to Vishal Dikshit. Noor Ahmed spoke to Nagraj Golapadi. David Miller had a lot of interesting things to say in the press conference about going up against the Royals, for whom he turns out in a lot of other leagues. Catch them all on the ESPNcricinfo mobile app as you watch through this game. And we'll be back at halftime to see how well Shaun Tait and Amol Muzumdar fared, and on a more serious note, how well Rajasthan Royals fare with the bat. So be sure to join us then on Visit Saudi presents ESPN Cricinfo T20 Timeout.